If you have a dog and a baby in the same house, you have almost certainly watched this happen. The dog positions itself between the baby and a stranger without being told to. It sleeps outside the nursery door. It wakes before you do when the crying starts. Nobody trained any of it. Most of what people describe it as loyalty or instinct, or the dog understanding the family. All of those are partially true, but they miss the specific mechanisms underneath. Here is what is actually driving the behavior. The first thing to understand is that your dog knows about the baby before you tell anyone. A dog's nose contains roughly 300 million olfactory receptors. Humans have about 6 million. Pregnancy triggers significant hormonal changes: estrogen, progesterone, and a hormone called relaxin. All shift at levels that are chemically detectable long before the pregnancy is visually apparent. Relaxin is produced almost exclusively during pregnancy. Dogs have been shown in multiple studies to respond with increased contact and following behavior before the pregnancy reaches any externally visible stage. They are not reacting to the bump. They are reacting to the chemistry. This is why behaviorists have documented that dogs often begin their behavioral shift in the first trimester, staying closer, resting against the abdomen, becoming attentive in ways that seem disproportionate to anything visible. The dog is reading a chemical message that the human body is broadcasting. It responds to that information as it would respond to any significant change in its social group. When the baby arrives, the dog's response is shaped by how it reads vulnerability. Dogs are extraordinarily sensitive to behavioral and physical cues that indicate helplessness within their social group. An infant is low to the ground, moves unpredictably, produces high-frequency sounds, and does not produce the body language that signals competence or threat. It registers, for the dog, as something that needs attention. Research into canine social perception has shown that dogs respond differently to individuals they perceive as vulnerable. The elderly, the ill, and infants all produce changes in dog behavior that are distinct from how the dog interacts with healthy adults. The positioning behavior, placing itself between the baby and an unknown person, is an expression of this reading. The dog is not executing a stored rule about protecting babies. It is reading the situation in real time. Here is someone who cannot protect themselves. Here is someone unknown entering the space. And my position in this social group is to manage that gap. The infant cry is a specific kind of signal. Research has shown that infant cries occupy a frequency range that triggers faster and stronger responses in dogs than most other sounds, including human adult distress. The high-pitched, irregular nature of infant crying is processed by dogs as a high-priority alert. In one study, dogs exposed to infant crying responded with significantly more distress behavior, pacing, whining, proximity seeking, than dogs exposed to adult crying or simulated noise at similar volumes. The signal is not just loud, it is specifically compelling. What happens next is behavioral. The dog moves toward the sound, toward the infant, and often toward the primary caregiver. It is not choosing between the infant and the parent. It is reading the infant as a demand on the group and positioning itself accordingly. This is part of why dogs often alert owners to infant distress before the owner has heard it. Their sensitivity to that particular frequency range exceeds what a sleeping adult registers. There is a third mechanism, and it is perhaps the most important. Dogs extend their social attachment to the people their primary owner is bonded to. A dog that is attached to you will register your emotional states, your attention patterns, and your bonding behaviors, and adjust its own responses accordingly. When a new parent brings an infant home, the dog observes a level of attachment that is among the most intense a human produces. The parent is constantly attuned to the infant. The infant is never alone. Every resource in the household reorganizes around this small, helpless new group member. Dogs read this. The infant becomes important not only because it is vulnerable, but because the dog's primary person has signaled, through every behavior available, that this infant is the most important thing in the space. Researchers studying canine social referencing, the behavior dogs use to read human emotional direction, describe this as attachment transfer. The dog learns who matters by watching who you act like matters. It is worth naming what this behavior is not. The protective response is not pack hierarchy. The idea that the dog is guarding the weakest member of the pack. That framework, derived from the discredited captive wolf studies, does not map onto what is actually happening. What it is: chemical detection, vulnerability reading, infant frequency sensitivity, and social attachment transfer. 4 distinct mechanisms, all converging on the same behavior. The dog is not running an instinct script. It is reading a complex situation with the same tools it reads everything else: chemical signals, body language, behavioral cues, and the emotional direction of the people it is bonded to. If you are expecting or have a young baby at home, the research suggests that introducing familiar scents early, maintaining routine, and allowing the dog supervised access to the baby's presence, rather than excluding it, tends to deepen the protective bond rather than disrupt it. The behavior you are watching is not accidental, and it is not superstition. It is your dog doing what it does with everything else that matters in your house, reading it and responding. Hit like if this explains something you have always noticed. Drop a comment with what surprised you most, and subscribe so you do not miss what we look at next.